Hi, welcome back. This is video number 3, pain relief for the hip complex and the lower back. Much of today's postural stress and pain shows up in the hip complex or the lower back area, but it originates in the leg or the lower leg. So make sure that you do the myofascial release for the calf, which is in video 1A, and the myofascial release for the thigh and the back of the thigh, which is in video number 2. Today I'm going to go through 3 myofascial releases for one, the hip flexor, which is on the front of the body. Then we're going to do a release for the quadratus lumborum, which is your lower back area, and then a release for the glutes or your tush area. We're not only going to do the releases, but this video will also have the stretches and the strengthening components that go along with those particular releases. So what we want to do is find a doorway or a corner like this. And we're going to take the tennis ball and about 2 inches from your belly button and about 2 inches down, you're going to place the ball against the wall with your knee bent of the leg that you're stretching, and you're going to apply a little pressure or look around for a little sore spot or a hot spot. Once you find that, you're going to want to marinate there for 30 seconds and straighten out the leg. So now what we want to do is, once we've completed the front of the hip, we want to work on the back of the hip area. So we're going to go to our lower back, or what's called quadratus lumborum. I put my feet flat on the ground. I put the ball in my lower back, and again, I go up and down until I feel a little sore spot. And when I feel it, I let it marinate right there. And then roll a little bit more to kind of loosen it up. The last area that we're going to release is our gluteus maximus. And you're going to start this one by bending the leg of the cheek that you're going to release. You're going to find the spot that's sore. For me, it's right about there. Once you find it, lean back into the wall, apply a little more pressure, and straighten out the leg. And let it marinate. Roll it a little bit, roll back and forth a little, roll up and down a little, and release. So now that we've done the myofascial release, we move on to the stretches and the strengthening component of the hip flexor and the lower back. So the stretch for the hip flexor, or the front of the hip, by the way, that's one of the most problematic areas. Please make sure you stretch out the hip before you do the lower back and the glute stretches. Do all these 3 components of this pain relief video together. Don't leave out one, and only do the other ones because they're all important, all 3 of them. So to stretch out the hip flexor, the front of the hip, we want to make sure we have a stable base of support. We lift the arm and the leg goes back and it's straight. My toes are pointed forward and I reach to the ceiling with my hips pushed forward, yet the heel of my foot stays on the ground. The next stretch we're going to do is for the glutes and for the lower back. And those are going to be done seated, so grab yourself a chair. So the next stretch we're going to do is for our glutes or our tush. We're going to place our ankle on the opposite leg. We're in a chair. We move our hips forward. We sit nice and straight. And we should feel some pulling in our cheeks. The one that we're stretching is the one where the knee is bent. If you need a little bit more, you just press down on the knee. You sit nice and straight. You hold that for 30 seconds. I find this a great stretch for the lower back, and also we'll do a tiny little exercise as well. So I'm going to put my lower back flat on the floor, And what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice pressing my lower back to the mat and releasing it. Pressing it and releasing it. Pressing it and releasing it. Actually, that's a little bit of an exercise there. Then I'm going to bring my knees into my chest. I'm going to put my arms straight out, and I'm going to roll my knees as far as I can to one side and relax there for 30 seconds. Breathe calmly and restfully. Then I'm going to bring my knees back up after 30 seconds, roll them over to the other side. Relax for another 30. Taking deep, calming breaths. Bring my knees back up. Place my feet back on the ground. And let's do those 3 pelvic tilts again. Pressing the lower back to the ground. Pressing the lower back to the ground and releasing. And then pressing again and releasing. Next, we're going to do an exercise that will work our lower back, our glutes, and loosen up our hip flexors. So this is an exercise, again, for the glutes, lower back, and stretches out the hip flexors. I like to use a stability ball, but you can do this without the ball as well. It's called a bird dog, at least that's what I call it. For those of us that have sensitive knees, I like to take a pillow or another mat and place it near the ball so that my knees have some cushioning. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on the ball, and I'm going to do, first I'm going to lift the opposite arm and opposite leg. So I lift, hold, relax. Go to the opposite side, lift, hold, relax. And I'm going to do that, let's say 6 to 16 times. I'll progress up as I get better with it. Now what I'm going to do is the same side. So I'm going to lift the arm and the leg on the same side of my body. And once I find my balance, I can release and release. Again, you can do this without the ball. The next video, video number 4, is myofascial release for the upper back, the shoulders, and the neck. Stay tuned for that. Namaste.